how he views the quarterback's future.
That's kind of something we're working through. I think it's something that we've talked about quite a bit as we've worked through this salary cap situation, which is really kind of a 2-year situation. Aaron's our guy. He's going to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future. We're excited about, kind of the things we're going to try to accomplish here over the next couple of years. We're not done yet. We've done a lot to get here. We've kind of been doing things as we go, and we will continue to do that as we go.
What the actual heck? So Aaron is our guy, and he's going to be our guy for the foreseeable. Kimberly, help.
I don't have a life raft. I don't have any answers for you, Greeny, because when you think about the Packers and what they should do is get Aaron Rodgers some help. I feel like there's old footage from last year. I know I'm new to ESPN, but I know there's footage of me saying this last year where they should get Aaron Rodgers some help. And guess what? They need to get them help this year. Think about the history of this team. Of the last 9 first-round picks, they've been defensive, except for Jordan Love, who cannot help you right now. No disrespect to Jordan Love, but if Aaron Rodgers is your guy, then don't leave it all on Davante Adams. Don't leave it all on Aaron Rodgers. Go out and get this guy top-tier talent so we can stop talking about it.
Well, D. Wood, as we consider the conversations we've been having here this morning, you had an idea. Who might Green Bay go out and get for Aaron Rodgers?
Greeny, I think I had it in my notes. Why don't you go out there and trade for Julio Jones? How about that? How about trade for Julio Jones? Because Aaron Rodgers, right, exactly. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is forcing Jordan Love on the bench. He's playing at MVP type level. They've been to back-to-back NFC Championship games. Get another dominant receiver beside Davante Adams and watch Aaron Rodgers continue to flourish. That guy is Julio Jones, in my opinion.
Now, I don't know exactly what the cost would be, if you will, in a trade to acquire Julio Jones. But, Jeff, let's just consider a moment a world in which you have Davante Adams and Julio Jones at receiver and Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. Jeff Saturday, what does that look like?
Oh, they're the best team in the NFC. I mean, start it, right? You get those two guys on that offense with the offensive line. Bakhtiari's coming back. He'll be healthy after the injury, obviously. All of those things. They can run the ball now in Green Bay. I mean, this team is poised to go to the Super Bowl because of what they're doing to Wood's point, who was just preaching about Julio Jones helping Adams and helping Rodgers. I mean, this thing, and here's the easiest part, in my opinion. Get Aaron Rodgers' contract done. This should be the easiest contract in the business. Get it done today. Now let's look at the draft. Let's look at being able to get and acquire a guy like Julio Jones to come in and help us. But the first piece that needs to fall is the Aaron Rodgers contract. And by the way, that eliminates all other distraction. I'm exhausted by the distraction of the Green Bay Packers that they have brought this on themselves. So get this thing done and then bring in the talent to go help Aaron Rodgers.
I hate to even ask this question, but if you do that and you extend Aaron Rodgers' contract, Kimberly, what happens to Jordan Love?
So that's the risk you run when you draft a quarterback when you don't need one. Listen, teams will tell you the best time to take a quarterback is when you don't need one. That is true. However, Aaron Rodgers, this is a man on a mission. He's not trying to lose his job anytime soon. So I don't know when we're going to see Jordan Love on the field.
Yeah, or for which team? I mean, does suddenly he become someone you consider trading? It's a fascinating scenario, but the GM said it. You heard him say it. Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback.
You can sit here and tell me that the Bears think Andy Dalton is the answer. They are on the hot seat, both GM Ryan Pace and head coach Matt Nagy, and that's our understatement. They need to make a bold move to try to bring some energy and life to that Bears fan base.
I think that's exactly right. Their being on the hot seat sort of lends itself to the idea of making a desperate move, and we'll see if that's what they wind up doing. Meanwhile, the draft sort of starts at 4, right? We look at it, we know who the first 2 picks are going to be, and we know that the 3rd pick will be a quarterback. And then we get to Atlanta. They have a huge decision at 4 and plenty of options. Yesterday, Diana Rossini broke down some of those.
They have attended every single quarterback pro day. Every one of them, they've had a representative there. So they obviously have interest in a quarterback. And I was told They have their eye on one. If he's there, they will take him. If he's not, they are very open to trading back to collect more picks. Atlanta really has a plethora of options here that could all really work for them.
Yeah, they have 3 options with regard to the draft. They also have another option that is fascinating, and here's what Terry Fontenot said to Fox 5 in Atlanta about trading Julio Jones. He said that's one of those things when you're doing things the right way as an organization, you have to listen. If people call on any player, we're in a difficult cap situation. That's just the circumstance. Obviously, that particular player, we hold him in high regard. He's special, what he's done, what he continues to do here. But we have to consider any player if it's right for the team, because we have to do what's right for the team. And Adam Schefter later tweeted to explain that from a salary cap perspective, it's more likely that trade would come after June 1st. That's not the interesting piece of this, though, however. Kimberly, the interesting piece is, are we living in a world where Julio Jones could be on the verge of getting traded out of Atlanta?
Yeah, listen, after this offseason, Greeny, anything is possible. The world may not even be here by the weekend, so anything is possible. And this just speaks to the situation that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith have walked into. You know, cap management, you know, the roster building or not building. You know, that wasn't their doing, but now they're sort of left with the situation. They've got to figure it out. Contracts, like, hey, they don't have a lot of cap space. They've got to turn this organization around. So, yes, Matt Ryan, very good quarterback. But at 4, it really is interesting what they do. Do you think, when are you going to trade? When are you going to be at 4 again? That's the interesting thing. So I want to see if they end up picking an impact player, even with Julio Jones.
There's a lot of ways to look at that, because if you're trading away Julio Jones, then maybe you are living in a world where you might be drafting high again. There's a lot of halfway here and halfway there in this. We'll talk about where Julio may wind up coming up. That said, Jeff Saturday, as we look at their options at 4, they can take a quarterback. They can trade back to someone who wants to take a quarterback, or they can take, let's say for the sake of argument, Kyle Pitts, the superstar offensive weapon who many people believe is the best player in the whole draft. What do you think they should do?
Trade the pick. Listen, Greeny, when you think about Kyle Pitts, the reason he fits so well at 4 is because of Julio, right? You got Ridley and Julio on the side, so now you're going to open up. You'll get man-to-man coverage. You can kind of dictate to defenses what you want to do. If you're going to get rid of Julio, the whole Kyle Pitts, you can trade back, and he'll probably still be there for the slot that you want, because anybody coming up to 4 is going to get a quarterback. They're not going to come draft up or get to 4 to come get Kyle Pitts. So I think they're in the best seat of the house, right? They're waiting, seeing if their perfect option is their quarterback, they could do it. But in my opinion, you trade out because you know Matt Ryan's got to be there with his contract. You just heard Fontenot talk about the circumstances they're in with the salary cap. I think you trade it, get the picks, and you're a better team for it with the possibility of winning now.
David?
Well, I think everybody wants to do that. Everybody loves to have the opportunity to move back and get more picks. But for the sake of this and not having the move back, give me Kyle Pitts. You talked about the matchups. Give me Arthur Smith coaching this too, by the way. What did he coach? He coached tight ends. Like, this dude can feature tight ends. I think he'll do a great job with it. Has done an unbelievable job calling offense. I love his play calling. He uses 12 personnel. Could use a guy like Kyle Pitts all over the field. So I think if you're going to stay in that spot, Matt Ryan, he's not 50 years old, okay? He's 35, 36 years old. He's still in a spot where he can play good football. And, by the way, is it normal to tell everybody, like, we sucked at the cap and they handcuffed me here, bro? Like, I got nowhere to go, so I'm fielding calls. Just let me know, whoever wants somebody.
That feels like the kind of thing you say to your fans before you trade away the most popular player on your entire team in Julio Jones. That maybe that's the direction this thing is going. One way or another, the entire thing is going to be shaped by whether or not a quarterback goes at 4 or not, regardless of whether it is Atlanta or someone else who makes the pick. Now, we talked about surprises. Let's flash back to last year's draft, when the huge surprise, of course, came late in round 1, when the Packers traded up to take Jordan Love. That's how we got to where we are